What's up, everyone? Welcome to 15 Minutes of FAIN. Get that? I'm the FAIN. Hi, everyone. I'm Mary Fain Brandt, and this is my show, 15 Minutes of FAIN. You can find me here every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. This is Season 2, Episode 23. I can't believe I finally got here. Wow. So today's episode is all about who owns your content. Because if you write a piece of content, it's safe, right? You own it. Or do you? The answer might surprise you. I mean, we spend hours working on our content, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Oh, I don't know all of them. And of course, my favorite, LinkedIn, right? You spend hours getting just the right words, having just the right tone, perfect emotion, right? It's brilliant and it's just for your audience. But do you really understand who owns the content? I have a special guest joining me today, CJ Gilbert. He's right down there waiting in the green room. I'll bring him up in just a moment. We're going to let you in on some tips about securing your content. So we're going to talk about your website is the only, let me repeat that, your website is the only thing that you can fully own and control online. That is going to be epic when we get into that discussion. Social media platforms are lying to you. Yep, they're telling you half truths. That doesn't surprise you, right? We're going to talk about make your content and your website work for you. And then I'm going to share my hack for not losing that brilliant piece of content that you have worked hours, sometimes hours on. And I'm going to share a live story with you of what happened to me and why I don't want this to happen to you. And then after this show, you guys, we're going to jump over to the LinkedIn audio event. So I'm going to drop that link in the comments and we'd love for you to join us. And what I love about LinkedIn audio events, A, it's on LinkedIn where my network is, but B, it's way better than a podcast because you can raise your hand and I can bring you up to the virtual stage where you can interact with us. You can share your stories and you can ask CJ and I questions about securing your content. Okay. So I'll drop that link in just a minute. But first, a shout out to StreamYard because StreamYard is the official sponsor of 15 Minutes of FAIN. So as you're watching the show and you're seeing the intro videos and comments and all the branding elements, right? If you want to level up your game, let me know. I'm going to drop my affiliate link down in the comments in a moment. And if you sign up with that, I offer like a 15-minute free tutorial to get you set up because I love StreamYard. It's amazing. Okay, let's bring CJ up. Woohoo!
Hello, hello.
Thank you so much, CJ, for joining me today. CJ is wonderful. I'm going to let him tell you about the business, but he's a speaker, author, and a website developer for 25 years. That's a long time, dude. I know that you teach business owners, entrepreneurs, speakers, coaches, and authors how to think of their website like their number one business tool so they can make more money and serve their clients better, faster, and easier. CJ is here today to share with us who owns your content. So you guys give us some love, give us some thumbs up because CJ's time is valuable and I appreciate him being here. Wow, CJ, you've like done it all. And websites they're hard.
Yeah.
They're hard to set up and manage. Like mine is set up, but do I put much effort into it? No, but we're going to get into that a little bit later. CJ, tell me, what is your favorite thing about websites? How did you get started? What's your story?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mary, thank you so much for having me on your program. What an honor for me. Thank you so much. And, it's not a surprise to those that know me that I've been a geek all my life. I've been a computer geek playing with computers since I was very young. I was in high school when the internet was born, 1995. And so it was real natural for me to start learning about HTML and websites. And I was a friend of mine, her dad owned a computer company where I live locally, and they built computers and serviced computers. And I kind of came on as his web team and started in that realm. And I did a bunch of other stuff when I was in college and studied language, and I was pre-med. And after college, I tried a couple things, right? Because I didn't know what I wanted to do in my life. I tried banking for a couple months. I got into the insurance field, and I was in the insurance field for several years, worked for a handful of great companies. I worked for Geico Direct. I worked for AAA. I did phone sales, and then I did in-person sales, and then I became an inspector, and I got to drive all over San Diego and look at cool houses and cars and boats. And long story short, I had an accident. I ended up falling through a staircase in one of the jobs I was inspecting, and I got hurt. And this was a tragedy, and this was a terrible thing that happened to me. But it wasn't, because I truly believe that everything that I went through, all the previous jobs that I had, the sales experience, the customer service experience, and what I went through, it led directly to me opening my own business, becoming an entrepreneur, and now serving business owners and entrepreneurs worldwide through the information I have and the resources I can share. So even though there was a lot of pain and tragedy and heartache and physical therapy and chiropractic, I truly believe it brought me to where I am now, and I'm able to help even more people than ever before.
Wow. And I didn't know the full backstory of all that. You have done so much, but I love how you said, like, it wasn't a waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, I'm a career coach, and a lot of people think, oh, I don't want to start over, right? Oh, I don't want to start. But all those past experiences that you had helped shape and develop your skills and talents to where you're at today.
Absolutely.
So, I think it's all in how we look at it.
Absolutely.
What are we going to do with what's happened to us? Are we going to be a victim or a victor? Right?
Excellent.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And CJ, I always like to share with the audience how I know my guests. And we haven't met in person yet. It was actually, and we had to go back through CJ, and I was like, I know that I met you online, CJ. I think it was like a virtual network. So we were trying to figure out, because we've been in touch. We see each other on LinkedIn. And I was speaking for an organization. CJ did the detective work. I was speaking for an organization, and CJ was at this online meeting. And I love the interaction during the meeting. So you definitely stood out because you interacted. You weren't just a picture frame on Zoom. But then what stood out, and this is a pro tip, you guys. So people, always like, I don't know what to post, Mary. I have nothing to share, no content on LinkedIn. Well, we're all attending these virtual meetings and summits and conferences. CJ, this is a pro tip, and I tell my clients to do this. Took a picture of the computer screen of me teaching and training, probably with my hands up like this, right? And then, because this is how I talk, there's got to be some Italian here somewhere. He posted that on LinkedIn and tagged me, and I said some nice words like, Mary did a great job. We learned so much, blah, blah, blah. But it was that I appreciated, and it was top of mind. And so then we connected, right? And then we just see each other on LinkedIn and stuff. So that's a pro tip of content. Content is in front of you every day, everywhere.
Absolutely.
I go to the grocery store, or we'll be driving. I'll be like, with my husband, I'll be like, oh, that's content. I'm like, oh, I can turn that into content. Like, it's just once you turn the switch on and you are looking for content, it just appears everywhere.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, let's get to our show today. So the first topic is websites is the only thing that you fully own and control, right? So
Absolutely.
I 100% agree with that. If anybody thinks that you control LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, I don't know about you, but I'm leaving Facebook slowly. Like, as a business owner, I'm leaving it because it's just not working anymore. It's just a social site. Social is for my friends and family, and you can't find your content there. And so I want you to explain to our viewers, why is the website so important, and that it's the only place that you truly own your content.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to repeat it again because it bears repeating. Your website. This is the number one takeaway, folks. If you get nothing else from our conversation today, hear this one thing. It's worth writing down. Your website is the only thing you can fully own and control. And isn't it true that all these other platforms out there are telling you to come to their platform and participate and build it up and share your content and all these things? And there's a half truth in there because you do have people there. You can find engagement there. You can interact with people there, and you want to. You should be on those platforms. But I want you to remember always that it's your own website under your own domain name is the only thing you can fully own and control. So I believe you should think of that as the foundation of everything you do online. Publish to your website first. Maybe you have a blog, maybe you have some other way that you're sharing resources, tools, and information to your own website under your own domain name. And then you go out to all the other places around the internet, share your blog links, interact with people, and bring them back to your website.
I love that. So I'm just going to interject because this is a casual conversation of how we both manage content. So I do it backwards. And let me tell you why. I host this show. We download the recording. We make micro videos that we reshare, and then the blog goes on the website. So I don't start with a blog. I start with a live show, but then it lives on my website.
Right. Still
so
counts.
That's okay, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll go live on Facebook. I'll go live on YouTube. And then again, you download the video, you do whatever production you want, minimal or more, and then you publish it officially to your website, to all the other places. And that's the home of it. But absolutely, you want to take advantage of all the other sources and resources.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure that I felt like we did the same thing. We just, do a little differently. Because some people start with a blog because they're better writers. Okay. That's not me. Some people start with a blog because they're better writers, and then they can turn that into a video, because a video doesn't have to be your face. It can be a deck slide, a Canva design with the words or the key points of your blog. So there's so many different ways to create the content. But yeah, I like how you said all the social media platforms are like, look at me, come here, build your community here, put your content here.
Right.
Yeah. I can't be on that many platforms. I don't want to be on that many platforms. I just, my website and LinkedIn, solid.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you just said you can't be on all the platforms. Well, the great news is your audience can't be on all the platforms either. So it's a matter of identifying who is your audience, who are your people, and then you can hang out in those few places that you'll identify. That's where your people are. And I think you and I have found a lot of our people on LinkedIn. And I'm going to echo what you said a few minutes ago. I'm moving away from Facebook. I'm probably never going to completely close down my Facebook page or stop posting or anything like that. It's just not the priority it used to be. And
I will keep my Facebook page.
Yeah.
But people are going to listen. I'm closing down my Facebook group.
Just next month. Worth your time.
It's not worth my time. Little to no engagement. I know that I see people like view stuff, but you know what? I'm a LinkedIn strategist and career coach. Those people, they're over on LinkedIn, or they need to be. And I just don't feel it's worth, and I don't want to put my content there anymore.
Right. Absolutely. And and I don't want this to turn into a we're slamming Facebook video, because we certainly aren't.
But for me, it's not the platform to spend my time.
And this is a very true statement. You 100% control what you do on your own website. You can't control what happens on Facebook. You can attempt LinkedIn to share things, but they are in 100% control of who sees what you post. Do you feel like you post something and nobody ever sees it? That could be 100% true.
And that happens on LinkedIn as well. So that's why it all needs to be, our content always needs to be on our website. So I think we've hammered that in, and that social media platforms, they do a great job of marketing. Oh, come over here, build your community here. You'll get more viewers, the promote this post, right? I think they do a great job at that, but we're a little smarter now. Right. We're a little smarter now. And we know, because I don't know about you, but we've probably, both of us, have gone through something where maybe you lost followers, you lost connections, and you possibly lost content on a different platform. I don't know about you, but it's happened to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just different now than it was, 3, 4, 5 years ago. I used to get a lot of engagement on Facebook. In my Facebook group, you'd go live, people would start
Yeah.
joining, you'd have lots of comments. You do that now, it's like crickets, and what's changed? You're not any different. Facebook is different. It's an algorithm. It's a mathematical equation that's behind everything that decides who gets to see what. And it's no secret that it's a free service, and the only way they make money is through advertising.
Right.
So they want to promote advertising, and they want you to pay them to promote your own content right back to Facebook again. So it's this loop, which simply, you've got to pay to play. You've got to pay to play, basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. So I'd love for you to tell us more about, like, when you say make your content and your website work for you, what do you really mean by that statement?
Absolutely. Absolutely. This goes back to a few minutes ago. We were talking about, took my previous experience and turned it into what I'm doing now. And it really is true. When I was had receptionist jobs and I was learning about filing paperwork, answering the phone, helping customers, you learn a lot about customer service in that kind of a situation. Then I moved into sales and I was selling insurance and, memberships. And I did a lot of study of sales and sales leaders and sales mentors. And then couple years later, I'm doing my own business and I'm starting to work with business owners, and I ask them questions like, what do you want your website to do for you and for your audience? And I would get a lot of blank stares. They didn't know. They had no idea. No one had ever asked that question. And I realized most business owners, they know they need a website, like as a theory, but they don't really know what it can do for them. They don't know what it could or should do for them. So I started writing down some of my thoughts, and that's how I accidentally wrote my book, 5 Golden Keys to Sharpen Your Website.
Accidentally wrote your book. Can you accidentally write mine? Because everyone tells me I need to write one. And I have it in my head, but like, it's scary. That's a whole other show.
Absolutely.
It's a little scary, like, say, oh yeah, I'm going to write a book. Like, to say that out loud and actually do it maybe later this year. So you accidentally wrote a book. Awesome.
Yeah.
We can throw links in the comments later. So if you guys are interested in getting that, correct. I just lost my train of thought, because when you said, and that's how I accidentally wrote a book, because you lay down all the tips and everything. So how do we make
I really did just start writing down some of my thoughts about what should a website do for you. And before I knew it, I had a couple chapters and I just elaborated, and I really did accidentally write my book. Now, it took a lot of work to publish it after that, but
see, that's what I'm afraid of, because I have all the tips. I did
Right.
bite-sized tips for busy entrepreneurs, and I shared a tip every Tuesday
Mhm.
tips,
Mhm.
190 of them or something.
Mhm.
So I have the content. It's getting over the fear of writing the book. So anyways,
Absolutely.
how do we make our website work for us instead of
And that's
us
when
working for it?
That's when I truly recognized what a website really was. And that is, it's a tool. Your website is a tool to serve you, your business, and your audience. And if you think of it from those terms, you can really discover that it boils down to improving your sales and improving your customer service. And we can dive into each one of those more specifically. There's a third one I throw in there too, and that's called your search, because that's how people are finding you nowadays. They're not picking up the yellow pages. They're probably going to Google or one of the other search engines or one of the other social media places. That's where they're looking for you and your kinds of content. So if you think of your website in terms of, it's a tool and it's here to help me with my sales, my customer service, and my search, we can crack each one of those open to come up with more tools and ideas and resources for you to make your website work for your business.
I love it. I love it. I think SEO is probably one of the most important things on a website.
Very much.
And by putting your blogs up there and repurposing content, you get SEO, folks.
Exactly.
I was like so against it forever. And this year we set up our, I'm making my website work for me better, because we repurpose our content and create a blog. And like, literally I can have a new blog every week, which is more than enough to get the SEO that I need.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm going to share my hack with you guys. Anybody here ever write a great piece of content and it disappeared? You went to publish it, you couldn't find it. Please tell me I'm not the only one out there that has ever spent like over an hour. I was writing this heartfelt piece of content that was going to, it wasn't just sharing the story, but it was tying back into business. And it was also relevant of what was going on LinkedIn, like the different types of stories that were being shared that day. So I needed to get it done and get it posted before 10 a.m. And I had started it like the day before because there was a conversation going on. And then I was going to get up and finish it. And I worked hard on it and it was awesome. I copied, right? I copied part of it because I had it saved. And then I filled the rest in on LinkedIn. Okay. So you guys, I went to LinkedIn and I was putting up this post that was a hot topic, a personal story, and business related. It had the trifecta. I went to post it. And LinkedIn went hiccup, burp, whatever you want to call it. It said, oh, could not post. I was like, what? Where is it? Right? This was before they had that save the draft, right? So now you can actually save a draft. So you have a 50% shot of saving it. But it just vanished into thin air. And as I was telling CJ, it was such a heartfelt, emotional post that I had drained all my energy writing this perfect post and it vanished. So my tip to you guys is never create content on the platform. So don't open up LinkedIn and start like la-di-da-di-da-di-da. Like unless it's a very short post, maybe. Always open, I like Google Drive, right? So you can just have a Google Doc that says spontaneous posts, right? Because a lot of us use a scheduler. Even for my scheduled posts, those are not typed in Agorapulse, which is the scheduler I use, which is awesome if you guys need one. I type those in ClickUp, my project management tool. We have all the text. So it's in ClickUp or Google Drive. It is always on another platform because I don't care if it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, wherever it's at, or LinkedIn. You could be writing that post that is magical and just for your audience, and it's going to be a hit. And tech, Instagram's gone down, Facebook's gone down, LinkedIn's gone down. It can happen. And then that magic is gone because you're defeated and you're drained. So I always say, start your content in a Word document. If you still use Word, I'm not a fan of MS Word. I'm a Google Suite person. So give me G Drive any day or ClickUp, a management tool to keep everything organized. Plus, you guys, it's hard to find your own content on another platform. But if you have a Google Drive or something, if you have a doc open, you can go back and search and you can find amazing pieces of content that, you can repurpose. And then you have the blog, you have your post on LinkedIn and you're like, oh, I should do a show on that. Oh, I should turn that into a blog. Oh, that's micro content. So that is my tip to you. I always like to share the good and the bad, the ugly of being a business owner, right? And just being alive, right? Like things that we go through. And so I just think that that's really important. So we do have a question. What if your website is for services, such as virtual assistant? How can you know the content to put on your blogs? Well, I'm going to give this a stab, CJ. It's what are your clients looking for? Okay. So if you're a virtual assistant, what do you specialize in? Is it graphic design? Is it scheduling? Is it writing content? Is it editing? Is it helping with a website? Like a virtual assistant is so broad. Tell me what your specialty is. Hook me with what your specialty is. Even if I don't need it, I might want it because you're the expert. So I do know with virtual assistants, I have one. I love her. Shout out to Sherry. You're amazing. I hope you had a great vacation. We aligned our vacations at the same time without knowing it. But she was an email, like active campaign. That was her niche, but she's grown with me. I think we've been together 4 years. And so she's grown with me and learned like new programs that I throw at her. So for your question, what is your specialty? Is it email marketing? Is it branding? Is it social media? It's hard for a virtual assistant to do everything. I feel like you have a specialty or two. What would you add to that, CJ?
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is a great question, Wisdom. Right. And I would agree with you completely, Mary, on what you just said. And I'm going to just add a couple other ideas. Yes. So imagine you've got your homepage, right? And your homepage, here's one mistake I see people making. They try to cram too much on their homepage. If you have a one-page website that's a long form landing page, that's okay, because chances are you still have sections the person can go through. But for most people, they're going to have a, I don't know, 3 to 5 to 7 page website. Imagine your homepage is simply a simple introduction and jumping off point or stepping stone into the other parts of your site. So you're explaining very lightly what you're doing maybe on your homepage, and then they're moving to your services page. That's where you're going to have a more in-depth explanation of exactly what your services are. You may choose to go a step further and create a page specifically for each one of your services so you can give a lot more details. By the way, setting up that hierarchy really helps out your SEO, and I've got a whole video on that on my YouTube channel. But coming back to your blog question, what content could you create for your blog? I've got 2 separate ideas that are going to work together. The first one is case studies. You've already listed out what your services are and what kinds of things you do for your clients. Now step over to your blog and start talking about some stories about how you were able to help a particular client who had a particular problem. You offered this service, they found this solution, and now they've achieved this benefit. You could tell story after story, which highlights one of your clients, it highlights one of your services, and you're loading your blog with specific keywords that apply to that exact thing.
I think you just gave me an idea for a blog that I hadn't. I mean, I have client testimonials.
Yeah.
But I could totally take like some of my star clients that killed it, like got a new job, leveled up their LinkedIn, got speaking gigs, and I could case study. I never thought about that.
Excellent.
I put that. Oh, there's a typo, but that's okay, you guys. You know, typing is not my thing. Speaking is. It says pro tip case studies for your blog.
Nice.
So I think that is amazing. I will fix that typo later. This is live.
Let me give you the second thing I wanted to point out for your blog wisdom, and that is frequently asked questions. Chances are people are asking you the same or real similar question all the time when it comes to your services. So creating an FAQ page or choosing to do it in a series of blogs that talk about each one of the questions, it's another amazing way to, number one, answer your users' questions, which is part of your sales process. It's also customer service because they can come to your website and get the answers to the questions without taking your personal time. And it's excellent for that search piece too, because again, you're going to use keywords when you're answering that question that you just aren't naturally talking about anywhere else on your website. So I think that might be enough for you to take that ball and start running with it about what are your case studies that you can talk about your customers, your clients, their success, and that highlights a service. And then what are those FAQs? What are those frequently asked questions? And here's another tip, because I just can't shut up. I just can't stop with the tips.
Go for it, because I'm trying to put all this in comments. Okay, awesome. Give one more, because I'm trying to make sure.
Awesome. Okay, great. So in addition to your frequently asked questions, I ask you to think about your should be asked questions. Because what I've discovered is when people are looking to hire a service, they don't really know what we do. And chances are they don't even know what the right questions are to ask because they just don't know enough about our service, our product, or whatever that is. So help them out. Give them some of the questions they might be asking. They don't know yet, but when they see that question on your page or your blog, they'll be like, oh yeah, I probably should have asked that question. So you're helping them. You're providing education and you're answering the question at the same time. And keywords. By the way, I hear you asking, what are keywords? And do I need to stress about that? Not really. Keywords means any words you're using on your website. Whatever you type and put on your website, that becomes keywords. So you don't really need to stress about it. It's just about the language you're using.
Yeah. And what people are searching for.
Like,
exactly. What are people searching for? Career coach or career consultant? And sometimes when you're talking about keywords, that can be a game changer. So I know like we have hashtags on LinkedIn and we're using LinkedIn audio event. I think it's event. So an S can make a difference. Well, you know what? CJ, we are at 12:30 and you and I are jumping over to let me find it. I got to give it to We have a lot going on here. So you guys, I'm going to put it in the comments right now. CJ and I are going to jump over to the LinkedIn audio event where you can come and join us, ask questions because it's more interactive where you just raise your hand and I bring you up to the virtual stage. So you don't have to be camera ready. Don't be shy. Come share your stories, ask your questions. We are going to say goodbye. I want to say thank you, CJ, for being an amazing guest. I am so glad that we met online. I want to say shout out to everyone who joined us live. Thank you. And for anyone watching the replay, just type in hashtag replay, write your question, tag CJ or I, and we promise to get back to you. And we're going to go in after because CJ's got a book and some other fun stuff that we're going to offer you guys. So watch for that this afternoon when we go back in after the audio event. So I'm Mary Fain Brandt. This is 15 Minutes of Fain. Please come join me in the LinkedIn audio event. Okay.